Pop Culture Pastor.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, Cody.
Buenos dias.
Buenos Tuesday. That doesn't make any sense.
No, that doesn't.
Actually, maybe good Tuesday.
Although that's not how they say Tuesday in Spanish.
Buenos martes.
Good job.
Did I get that right?
I think so.
8 years of Spanish paying off right there. I don't remember much of the Spanish I took, which is interesting because I did take maybe not 8 years of Spanish, but I took a lot of Spanish. And it's sad that it's really a testament of when you stop. Well, it's truth to the if you don't use it, you lose it.
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, I can't remember a whole lot. Is Monday lunes, martes, miércoles? I don't remember Thursday.
No.
I think Friday is viernes, Saturday is sábado, and then Sunday is domingo? Maybe? I don't know.
Well, I just know you got Tuesday correct, so.
Yeah! You learn all the important things when you were learning a new language, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, hola.
Puedo ir al baño, por favor.
Whoa! That's, you just went all professional on me. You asked about the bathroom, didn't you?
Yeah. That's one of the most important things you can learn.
Yeah. Donde está tu baño? Right? It's like that's what I went to Mexico a couple years ago, and that was the one phrase I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get that one down because that's the one I need to know. Yeah, Mexico's an interesting place. I enjoyed my trip to Mexico, except for that every time we would stop for snacks. Because if you're going somewhere with me, you're stopping for snacks. That's just the way it is.
Yes.
But they have all their chips are like spice combined with lime. Like a sweet fruit spicy chip. And I was just like, no, I don't like that. I don't like my sweet and savory together. But apparently I'm out of luck because the whole world has moved on without me on that.
They have.
And especially Mexico, because they were really into it. Every chip had spice and lime.
Nice.
No. Are you into that too?
I'm not against it.
Okay.
Sometimes it works really well. Other times I'm like, that was a miss.
I am definitely in the minority. I get that for sure, because that's a flavor combination that's super prevalent now.
Thank you, whoever decided this was where we needed to go.
I would thank Mexico for nachos, but I'm pretty sure that was an American. If I remember the story right. Maybe I'm wrong. He could have been a Mexican immigrant in America.
That's why I'm choosing to believe.
I'm pretty sure nachos were created in a restaurant. Someone created them, but I can't remember the story now. I've heard it. It's one of those deals.
They are delightful.
Anyways, thank you. Whoever invented nachos. I'm a fan.
Yes.
What were we doing?
The morning show.
Oh, yes. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show here on KFEX, Firescape Radio 93.1. We're glad to have you. Here's some music. All right, Cody, we're officially 2 days after Halloween now, 2 days post Halloween. When is it okay to start playing Christmas music?
So if you don't do it all year round, because there are those crazy rebels that do.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, that's a little much. It's not special if you do it year round.
Black Friday.
Black Friday?
Day after Thanksgiving. That's the day.
Okay.
All the Christmas music gets blasted. Yeah. And that should be the day you put up your Christmas tree. Thus saith myself. Now, my wife, she is itching for us to drag out the Christmas tree and put it up now. And I'm like, this thing's huge. It takes up space.
I will tell you, I've seen 2 Christmas trees up already. Yesterday, the day after Halloween.
Well, I feel there's one that is nearby you, where you live. That's up all year round. I see that one as I drive home.
Well, I'm not going to count those, but I did see last night, as I was driving around, I saw 2 Christmas trees through windows lit up. Like, it wasn't just that they never took it down from last year. Like, the intent was there. They were displaying a Christmas tree on November 1st. That's too much, though.
Maybe.
Or is decorations different than music?
So I do know there's a growing trend to put up a tree during all holidays and then decorate it based on that holiday.
Oh. All right.
So maybe they haven't taken down their Halloween tree yet.
No, these were definitely Christmas colors. Anyways, I'm like you. I feel like if you wait till after Thanksgiving, you get the concentration of just the Christmas atmosphere. As a Christian, I can be like, well, I'm kind of in celebration of Jesus all the time, that he came here for us. That's the real reason for Christmas. But the other, just the Christmas ambiance, I want like a concentration of ambiance, and I want it to be meaningful. Mm-hmm. And I think the longer we have it out, the less concentrated it becomes, if that makes sense. It's sort of like if you put out scented candles in a smaller room versus a bigger room.
Yeah. I will say that depending on what your Christmas tradition is, like I've seen some people that when they put out their nativity, because people do that, they hide the baby Jesus until like the 25th.
Yeah. And then he's supposed to magically appear.
And then boom, on the 6th, the nativity scene kicks rocks.
It's out of here. It's gone.
12 days Christmas, it's over.
Well, I don't know if she is the end all say all when it comes to when we can start listening to Christmas music. But in case you're wondering, Mariah Carey, the day after Halloween, put out a video that started off as a Halloween themed video. It quickly turned into a festive Christmas vibe when her hit song, All I Want for Christmas, started playing. Mariah Carey has spoken, and she says it's time for the Christmas music.
She's just wanting that sweet, sweet royalty money.
How much money do you think she makes off of that song? Do you think it's more lucrative than all of her other songs? Or no? Because she was pretty big.
I feel it's lucrative more than the rest of her songs.
I wonder how much, I don't know how the royalties things work. Are you a fan of the song? It's a little catchy.
It's catchy, and in the right time period, I'm good with it.
Yeah, see, then that's what I go back to what I said before, which is if we take it into this concentrated dose, this few weeks in between after Thanksgiving's over and through Christmas Day, then it feels special. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about the Christmas Story being played 24 hours on Christmas Eve night and Christmas Day, because it's made my enjoyment of the movie less because, when I'm preparing for Christmas morning and I'm staying up till 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve night, I feel like I watch Christmas Story 4 times. I'm putting together toys or something. And
yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, my enjoyment of Christmas Story isn't as good as it should be because I feel like we're letting it loose. We're letting it too loose.
If we are playing Nat King Cole and Bing Crosby too early, it just ruins all the feels.
And if there's one thing that I don't want, don't you do it. Don't ever ruin Bing Crosby's Christmas music for me.
Don't do it.
It takes me right back to being a kid and everything I loved about Christmas when I was a kid.
Can I say the weirdest collaboration ever is Bing Crosby and David Bowie? I mean, it works.
It's so weird, but yeah, it works so great.
But if you told me Bing Crosby is going to team up with David Bowie, I'd be like, how do they even know each other?
Well, it explained it clearly in the lead up.
Yes.
He just happens to be in the neighborhood. He stops by Bing's house.
As one does.
Which has a shocking low amount of child abuse going on in it, from what I've heard. Wow, that was a bad joke.
That was.
We shouldn't speak ill of the dead when he's not here to defend himself. But by all accounts, Bing was not nice to his kids. Which also sort of ruined my enjoyment of his Christmas music.
One of his kids was in Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That
the first
also
one.
ruins my... It's like... I'm aware that Bing Crosby also sang other songs and appeared in other movies that weren't Christmas themed. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to see it.
Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Ichabod. Yeah, he does the whole narration and singing. It's fun.
Not a fan. Don't care. Bing is like, listen, Jesus, Christmas is all about Jesus. But then there's this whole sub list of Christmas figures, and Bing Crosby's one of them, and I don't really care anything he did other than Christmas stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Mariah Carey's quickly moving up that list.
I only know this one song by her at this point.
For Christmas. It's so catchy. It gets stuck in your head. I wanna be so hipster about it and be like, ew.
Gross.
No.
Get out of here.
But then the song starts playing and it's like, all I want for Christmas is, and someone walks in the door and is like, is like I pretend I wasn't singing along. I don't like this song. I don't even know why it's on.
Didn't even know this was a song until this moment.
Yeah, we're waiting for Christmas music. It's too early. Too early. We don't want to water down the experience.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, we're back on the morning show here on KFEX Firescape Radio 93.1. You can check us out at www.kfex931.com, or you can download the KFEX app
from your favorite app store.
Mm-hmm. We're on Apple and Google.
The big ones.
Yeah. Cody, there are heroes, and then there are heroes.
The
and I don't know.
TV show.
I honestly, it's the TV show. Then there's Hero, the wonderful character in the story of Hero is the TV show. Now, this guy is a hero, and I don't know how he's saving the world, but he's saving the world.
Okay.
Bob Salem, 53 years old. Last Friday morning, he reached the top of Pikes Peak. Do you know where Pikes Peak is?
I have been by Pikes Peak a time or two.
Mm-hmm. He reached the top, completing a task in 7 days. Now you might think, Dave, does it take 7 days to walk to the top of Pikes Peak? No, it does not.
It should not.
However, if you're asking me, does it take 7 days to push a peanut all the way to the summit of Pikes Peak with your nose? Then I would say, no, that's preposterous. Nobody could do that. Well, Bob Salem did.
That might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I mean, ridiculous, or you're just jealous? Because Bob Salem did it. He did it. There was actually a record. Someone had done it before in 8 days. I have so many questions. First of all, isn't that road gravel? Isn't the road to the top of Pikes Peak gravel? How are you pushing a peanut on your nose? Secondly, is he like on all fours? Is he like bear crawling? Or is he like just bending over? Because that seems like it would be terrible on your back.
I bet the other person now feels like a jabroni because they wasted 8 days of their life doing that.
8 days. I need to know semantics. Like, you know, when you stop for a bathroom break, do you just leave the peanut in the road? What if someone runs over it? What if someone runs over you? What if someone runs up just behind you and you kind of fall on their hood with the peanut? And does that count? He said to avoid the heat and the distractions, he did most of his pushing after dark. Quote, when I did it in the daylight and stuff, I'd have to stop every 10 minutes, 5 minutes and take pictures, talk to people and do all the kind of stuff. So it kind of dragged on the trip a little bit. Do people really want the autographs? Did they?
Oh yeah.
Let's role play. Okay. I'll be just a bystander guy who's going up to Pikes Peak, and you be the guy who's pushing the peanut up the mountain with your nose.
I am Bob.
Okay, Bob. Hey, man, what are you doing?
I'm pushing a peanut with my nose to set a new world record.
Oh, fantastic. That's a growth industry. Very cool.
Yeah.
No. I mean, like what? Why?
Because some jabroni took 8 days, and I'm going to do it in a lot quicker time if you'd quit talking. That's what I would have said.
So let me ask you a question. Why a peanut? Why does it have to be a peanut?
I don't know.
So it's day 4. Day 4, you're about halfway up Pikes Peak, pushing this peanut up with your nose, and you think, man, I'm really hungry. That peanut's looking pretty good.
I'd be worried about wildlife.
Oh man, this is such a weird thing. The Guinness book kind of spawned this sort of behavior where I don't care what it is, I'm just going to get myself in that book. And people think of these really inane actions. And it's fine, but I'm like, what's the point of having a record of something if nobody else really cares or wants to do it?
Yeah, like I want to be the world's fastest rapper, but Busta Rhymes is still alive.
Yeah.
And I'm not even getting close.
Like the things I want to do, they're already covered. So if I said, hey, I want to eat the most Chick-fil-A breakfast burritos in one sitting, but then, Joey Chestnut exists. So I'm like, what's the point, right? I can't, because I like to enjoy and eat my food. And Joey Chestnut just like, he inhales it.
And he does the chestnut shuffle.
Yeah, because there's that. And then if you've watched those competitive eating things, it's always the same thing. They're not actually eating. They're not actually tasting or enjoying. Basically, they're shoving the food down their esophagus, and they're just really good at ignoring their gag reflex.
That's not safe.
That's why they douse it in those hot dogs in water so they can just, and then they're all up there gagging. It's the worst thing I've ever watched.
Or the best thing.
They should put an NC-17 rating on those things.
It might be the most American thing there is.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. There's an article in The Atlantic, Cody, that came out recently. And I'm going to read the first paragraph for you. And then I just kind of want to see if you agree, disagree, what your feeling is on this. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
Here's the first paragraph from an article in The Atlantic written by Ian Bogost. It's over. Facebook is in decline. Twitter in chaos. Mark Zuckerberg's empire has lost hundreds of billions of dollars in value, laid off 11,000 people with its ad business in peril and its metaverse fantasy in irons. Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter has caused advertisers to pull spending and power users to shun the platform. It's never felt more plausible that the age of social media might end, and soon. What do you think about that?
I mean, the stats I agree with, that there's been layoffs at these places because they have publicly announced those. But the end of social media because companies aren't financially doing well, no. Like Reddit's just as popular as it's ever been. These places still have people on them. The capitalistic side of social media might not be as profitable as we once thought. That would be where I would end.
Maybe not. Isn't it all just cyclical? Like once upon a time, MySpace was huge, which, by the way, there's still things I really miss about MySpace. Like I miss being able to play the song. Everyone, if you came to my profile page, you had to listen to the song of my choosing. There was something nice about that. Like I'm the DJ of this page. And mostly what people got when they came to MySpace page was Jukebox Hero by Foreigner.
Nice.
Yeah. What can I say? I was an 80s kid. But like MySpace fades away. Facebook takes over. It becomes huge. then Twitter shows up and takes kind of a chunk of that, or at least a different kind of person. Instagram, like Snapchat, I feel like it's just cyclical because the younger kids like Instagram and Snapchat.
And I mean, I'll point out that even if you just look at capitalism trends within my lifetime, there's been housing bubbles and they've busted a couple different times. And the internet had a bubble and then it busted and then it's back. Yeah. And like, I agree. Things just kind of cycle through, and that we're going to have high points and then it's going to be like, oh no, the sky's falling. Oh wait, we're back.
Yeah, in my way of thinking, social media is not going anywhere because there is no, listen, just like anything else, it has a fuel. And this fuel is more prevalent than coal, gas, wind, solar, anything you could do, nuclear, anything you could think of combined. And the fuel that runs social media is self-righteousness. And that's not going anywhere.
Got plenty of it.
We got lots of it to spare. So yeah, that's not going anywhere. And as long as we have that, social media is going to have a place in our lives.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's here to stay. But I want to look at this guy's claim, and we'll spend some time going through a couple other things he says, because I want to make sure that he's starting off his article with this kind of bombastic claim, which is not
clickbait, as kids call it.
He works for the Atlantic, so he's probably a very good writer. I want to get into this and see what he's actually trying to say. Welcome back. I won't say it. In between the music, we were making some jokes about the name of that band.
Who shall not be named.
Yeah, there's no reason to make a negative joke. They're just out there in the world making their way.
They are.
And we won't have any discussion about their the trueness of their claims of their band name. Anyways, we're talking about this article that was written in the Atlantic. And this guy, Ian, who says the possible downfall of Facebook and Twitter and others is an opportunity not to shift to some equivalent platform, but to embrace their ruination, something previously unthinkable. So he lets a little bit of his motivation is I think he probably sees social media like we see it.
That it's the devil.
That it's well, maybe not like that. I mean, he does write for the Atlantic. He probably sees it in a more liberal framework, but at least we connect and are in common with the idea that like it's a bad thing overall.
Although it in itself is not inherently bad, what we have made it and what we use it for is definitely not good.
Yeah, listen to this. He says this, around 2009, social networking became social media. Between the introduction of the smartphone and the launch of Instagram, instead of connection, forging ties to people and organizations that we mostly ignore, social media offered platforms through which people could publish content as widely as possible, well beyond their networks of immediate context. Social media turned you, me, and everyone into broadcasters. The results have been disastrous, but also highly pleasurable, not to mention massively profitable. A catastrophic combination. This dude's preaching.
Ian, you can be on the show anytime you want.
We got to get this guy on the show. Yeah, he's too big for us, isn't he? He writes for the Atlantic.
Yeah.
This dude's like, who are you?
We have a podcast and radio show.
We are listened to by tens and tens of people.
Almost hundreds and hundreds.
But like, listen to what he's saying. This is a weird, like, we're at a weird intersection here where someone who's presumably a pretty liberal guy sees the same things we see in social media, which is, yeah, it's worked into this place where it feeds our ego. Possibly can also make us rich when you think of like influencers. Like, what are their jobs? It's literally social media.
Oh yeah.
And he's diagnosing it properly and saying this has been a disaster.
Preach on.
He says the terms social network and social media are used interchangeably now, but they shouldn't be. A social network is an idle, inactive system. A Rolodex of contacts, a notebook of sales targets, a yearbook of possible soulmates, which is kind of like, imagine MySpace.
I was on MySpace.
That's kind of what it was. It didn't have this power that social media has now. It was just kind of there. And nobody was going to anyone else's pages unless you knew them. And unless it was that girl that you were talking to and you wanted to make sure you were on her top 10 friends.
Yeah.
No, I'm not on her top 10 friends. What has happened?
I instantly deleted Tom on MySpace.
How dare you, sir?
Oh, I didn't know who he was. And then like someone's like, you don't have Tom in your top 8? And I'm like, no. And they're like, he's the creator of MySpace. How did you get rid of him?
He's like God. You only have it because he gave it to you. How dare you?
I didn't know.
A 2003 paper published in Enterprise Information Systems. That's made up.
That is above and beyond me.
But this is from 2003.
Okay.
So this is an early case that drives this point home. The authors propose social media as a system in which users participate in information exchange. The network, which had previously been used to establish and maintain relationships, becomes reinterpreted as a channel through which to broadcast. So this is a novel concept, but it's nice to see that there's smart people out there who see it.
But how am I supposed to get the word out about my garage sale, Dave?
Yeah, right? Well, there is this weird balance of like the good parts, but I think it's hard for us. I think when we start talking about social media or MySpace in particular, this is when we can kind of get this. So MySpace was a fun little aside for a while. It kept you in minimal contact with people you wouldn't have contact with, right?
Yeah.
And so that part of it was cool. But now let's imagine the world around us back then and the world around us now. Right? The world now is so angry. We're so bitter with each other. And in large part, it's due to the internet and social media. These places, these training grounds where we have practiced being bitter to each other and being self-righteous and being straight, dehumanizing to each other. Think about the people we disagree with. Like when you disagreed with someone in 2000, like you didn't think about them. They weren't on your mind. You were just like, yeah, I realize there's these whole other people out there that see the world differently and vote a different way than I do. But it wasn't present in my day-to-day.
Nope. It might be present for the 6 o'clock news, maybe. And then after election cycles, it was done.
Yeah. Now because of our toxic need to be right, we have made these toxic claims on the internet over and over and over again to where the point where now half the country thinks the other half is evil.
Oh, yeah.
And people have the audacity to say, well, I don't understand why these mass shootings keep happening. What do you mean you don't understand? How can you not?
Yeah.
It's because of our own hate. We're bitter towards each other. And when that reaches the right eyes, and by right eyes, I mean wrong eyes, the people who have some things broken inside their brain, that's a problem. And it came from our bitterness, our hate, our unwillingness to see each other as human. This guy nails it. He says, he writes this: the toxicity of social media makes it easy to forget how truly magical the innovation felt when it was new. From 2004 to 2009, you could join Facebook and everyone you'd ever known, including people you definitely lost track of, were right there, ready to connect or reconnect. The posts and photos I saw characterized my friends' changing lives, not the conspiracy theories that their unhinged friends had shared with them. LinkedIn did the same thing with business contacts. Making referrals, deal making, job hunting, all became easier. And this guy's talking about his first experience with social media, and now you contrast it with what it has become. I think I'm on board with this guy. I just don't know. I don't see the positivity. I don't see the rosy outcome that he sees. Where could this all be falling apart? I don't see it. Okay. So Ian Bogost, we're talking about this article he's written that he's being awfully positive. He's making a positive claim that is social media crumbling?
We can only hope.
I think the companies are cycling. Yeah, I think you're seeing Twitter burn down in real time. I think that was Elon Musk's goal. I think that's what he wanted to do. A lot of people out there are clinging to hope that he's just some kind of moron and he doesn't know what he's doing running a business. And I mean, I don't know how much more proof you need that that's not right.
Yeah. I'm not going to rule out that he might not know how to run a social media business, but I also don't know what his motivations or intentions are. But clearly he doesn't care that about you or the people that are upset screaming about it, because he's just going to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
And then retweeting your comments with like laughing emojis.
Right. He's a troll. He's an internet troll at heart. That's what he's doing. And when you're trolling, you're not trying to make money, because the goal is to troll, to get you upset, which is what he's doing. Ian, however, writes this. He says, to win the soul of social life, we must learn to muzzle it again across the globe among billions of people, to speak less to fewer people and less often, and for them to do the same to you and everyone else as well. We cannot make social media good because it is fundamentally bad, deep in its very structure. All we can do is hope that it withers away and play our small part in helping abandon it. Now, Cody, I'll let you go first. Why is he wrong?
So his statement about it being inherently evil.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It leads into a subject we talk about all the time.
Like, it only is as good or as evil as the value you place within it. And so, I mean, right now, I would say as a culture, as a nation, as a society, that we have placed too much value within social media and being influencers or broadcasters, whatever the terminology you want to use. It in itself, face value, operates neutral until people interject themselves in it.
Yeah. He says social media is fundamentally bad.
People are bad.
Yeah. See, this is how I know where Ian's coming from. Ian believes people can be good. Not a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
If you're talking about other people. The problem is when we think we're good. That's more of the problem. Jesus tried to get both of those thoughts out the window. The problem is that, yeah, you're right, Cody. Social media is neutral. It just is what we put in it. And what we put in it is everything terrible and bad about us, even when we think we're not being bad.
Yeah, I mean, look at the way Zuckerberg has talked about, like, oh, well, of course we monitor and track you across all other sites and domains, and we put you in an algorithm. We are trying to help you. And also help our employees stay employed.
Yeah.
And like, oh, sounds great, but it really hasn't been great because really the main focus was about money.
Yeah. Social media is only a megaphone. It's only going to make louder what is already inside us. And that's what it did. Did social media invent self-righteousness? No. But it made it louder. And we have dealt with the consequences of that. The internet itself, you could put in place of social media, that it has only given us a megaphone so that all of this seems louder and louder. The problem is not social media, Mr. Bogost, Mr. Ian Bogost of The Atlantic. The problem is not social media. It's us. We're the problem. And you're right in a sense. The way you fix this is you stop talking so much on social media, but it isn't because we were talking to so many people. It's because we used a megaphone to make all the worst parts of ourselves louder. That's the problem. The problem is us. And when you see that, the only true path to any sort of self-improvement is the humility to understand that it started with you. My fear is that someone's going to read his article and go, yes, social media is the worst. Down with Facebook and Twitter. And that's not it, Cody. The answer is, how do I play a part in this? How do I do this? In what ways do I think I'm being good, but actually I'm megaphoning my bad?
So I will partially agree with both of you. Okay. I'm coming from a different spot now. So there's the Dunbar effect, which basically says for a community around an individual to be at its peak operating performance, you really, on average, can only have about 150 contacts, close contacts. But if you get past it, it has negative consequences to it. That like those relationships suffer, or the ones that you wanted/need to be close start to suffer because you're trying to extend past yourself. Yeah, I think there is a limit to the amount of contacts we should have or that we should put emphasis on. So often we care so much more about what Joe in Idaho thinks about my post that we then spend time arguing with Joe instead of talking to your spouse who's on the couch right next to you. The broadcasting of ourselves and being a megaphone of bad things, the worst parts of us, that's happening everywhere. Really shouldn't be happening. It's not good for anyone's mental health or spiritual health. And then, like, what is it doing within our own, like, personal settings?
Yeah, trust me, I would much rather do it Ian's way, the writer for The Atlantic here. I'm taking the more pessimistic approach. So if somebody wanted to blow up an EMP over the entire world and just send us back to the Stone Age, I would instantly recognize that actually this is way better for humans.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thought to have because I just don't see technology turning around. We're not going to get rid of this stuff.
Not unless the Terminator does it itself.
We gotta somehow find a way to see that what the internet, what social media is doing is this megaphone effect. And I just don't know if we can do it. By the way, listen to our podcast, Pop Culture Pastor. No.
But you can. I'm not going to forbid you from doing it.
Hey, everybody, it's Dave. Thank you for listening to our Radio Leftovers podcast. Everything you just heard is from our morning radio show on KFEX 93.1. You can hear us every morning between 8 a.m. and noon. Those are Central Standard Times on www.kfex931.com. If Christian music's your jam, go ahead and listen. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for listening. Coming up this week, our Friday pod, the pod that drops on Friday, our main episodes, is going to be a Be Kind Rewind episode. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know what movie we're going to be rewinding to on our social media, so you can react to that and have conversations and whatever. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure and subscribe and give us reviews and ratings and share us. All of that helps to get more people to listen and for us to do bigger and better things. Thank you so much to you guys. We love you guys that listen, and we'll see you soon.